Good morning. Welcome to my favorite spot on the whole property. There's a little spot in the woods right before our land dips off to the neighbor's land, and it's just this kind of neat clearing where you can see a long ways. There's a neat view, and in my experience, year-round there's a breeze here. So if you're sitting out here after a hard day's work and you're sweaty, you can just come to this area and it just cools you off instantly. That breeze, however, has resulted in a few trees coming down in the last few days. This one's on the ground, which will be good because it's actually withstanding dead. It would be pretty good firewood. It doesn't appear to be rotty or anything. And then there's this other tree right here. You see this diagonal? That's not good. They call that a widowmaker. That means that it's very unsafe to bring down. You don't want to start cutting away at it. It's actually broken about 8 feet from the ground, and it's leaning on 2 other trees. And so those trees are at risk of being pushed down in our high winds and wet soil. So today we got to take care of that tree. My plan is to get a cable on it and pull the bottom away so that it can fall normally instead of kind of be sitting in this precarious situation. So that's the plan. It should yield lots of firewood, and my goal is to make this little area a little bit safer. And one of the reasons is the kids play kind of just right behind me here in their fort area, and a big wind gust and that whole thing in the trees it's leaning on could come down. So it's got to be taken care of. Before we take care of that widowmaker, I'm going to buck up this tree because I don't want it to be in the way of the cables and me making a quick exit if I have to move quickly. If you've watched this channel for any period of time, you have seen me run this chainsaw without safety gear. It's a bad idea. The only excuse I'll make is sometimes I'm just cutting a log to length to put on a sawmill. I'm standing with solid footing and cutting directly in front of me. So I'm gonna cut for like a minute, maybe 2. Not that you can't cut your leg off in 2 minutes, especially with a chainsaw. But out here where it's irregular terrain and I'm kind of stepping over a lot of brush, I always put on a chap's helmet, ear protection, and this shield. Broken there. I think we gotta go to the east with it. What do you think? Okay, so I think it's hung up in that tree, so when it comes down, the part I pull is going to come down, but not straight down. It's probably going to swing up against that tree. When that happens, 2 things could happen. 1, it just buries itself in the dirt, which is probably what's going to happen. Or 2, if it swings far enough, the whole tree could come back this way. So I'm pulling over there. I'm going to be on that side of the tree pulling toward me, but it's very unlikely any part of this tree comes toward me because it's on the wrong side of this other tree. So we're going to put a chain on it. I'm going to come along and see if we can get it down. Yeah, that's great. All right. tell if it's cracking or not. It's not doing anything, is it? I wanted it gone by now. Yeah, I wanted that in 2 pieces by the time we got this tight. That's pretty tight.
It's getting hard to crank.
It's getting a little hard to crank, but more than that, I'm just getting the sense that the tension is too much for, you know, what I'm doing here. No, I guess what I'm saying is it's just I'm putting so much tension on the cables and the chains in this other tree, and that tree hasn't moved yet. So, I don't know, I feel like I want to reset and go a different direction. Oh man. Pulled the chain off the tree. Pop. That was just the chain spinning, I think.
The tree didn't move fast.
Okay. Well, we've been at it for about an hour. We pulled the tree 2 different directions with a come-along cable winch, and it moved a little bit, but it hasn't fallen yet. And so, if anything, it's in a little bit more dangerous state than it was, because it's even closer to coming down. And it's still hung up there, so there's no real way to know which direction it's going to go when it comes free. We're just pulling and pulling grain against grain. It's not giving. I mean, wood is very strong. I think the next thing I'm going to try is wrapping the chain around the tree in a twist, so that when we pull the chain, it wants to roll that top section off of the bottom section. That's going to be my next plan. Who knows? It may or may not work. It's a little dangerous. We're pretty far from the tree, so I don't feel like really nervous about it coming down and hitting us, just because we're using such long cables and chains. But to move the chain, I got to get up there real close to the joint, and that's just the scary part. I want it to roll this way, so I'm going to try to put the chain all the way around and go that way. Does that make sense?
I think so. Here's a long stick. What? I just made that. Man, if only it's a little longer.
Ah!
Fall. Kill yourself.
So either third time's a charm or third time's not the charm. We'll see.
I don't know what pop.
tree move. Let me look at that. Am I just taking up some cable? There's a little slack in the cable, so am I just taking up some cable? Okay, this is working. We have the chain wrapped around the tree, but then one more wrap, so that as we pull it, it wants to spin the log off the stump. Ready? Now what's happening is those branches up there are keeping it from spinning.
Yeah.
Timber!
What?
There's no time to say timber.
Huh?
Well, cool. Okay, that did pretty much what I wanted it to do.
Yeah.
Now it's almost upright, and it's leaning on that other tree. So it's not a whole lot safer than it was.
No, we can pull the bottom out now. Now it's on the ground. There's no chance of breaking.
It's more predictable now, right?
Yeah, you kind of see where it's going to go now.
Yeah. Do you want to try to push it over down the hill, or do you want to try to pull the base out? What do you think?
We're trying to mute the audience.
Do you want to try to pull the base out, or do you want to try to tip it over? I think I'm going to get in there, limb a little bit, get some limbs off it, and then see if we can just push it over. Okay, this is starting to get frustrating. We have been pulling different directions on this tree for maybe 2.5 hours just to get it to come down safely. There's definitely faster ways to do this, but probably not as safe. There's probably safer ways to do this, but this is what we're choosing. We're really, really close. I mean, it's just about to fall. I think a couple more branches down and it will be on the ground and I can start cutting up for firewood. And you know, I've never burned a tree out of anger before, but this might be the first time. This thing's going right in the fireplace tonight.
Finally! 2.5 hours later.
Beep.
Wow.